excited to be here with Kerry. We're sitting in her beautiful, beautiful office, and there's so much we're going to learn today about all the wonderful things she does to help people become new. Kerry, thank you for being on the show. Please tell everyone at home about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me, Shay. I'm Kerry. I am a licensed acupuncture physician, and I love helping people transform themselves through different healing modalities as acupuncture, food healing.
Gosh, you do a whole lot. I think that was a mouthful. Don't you agree at home? I mean, my gosh, you help people transform their lives. And that's what this show is about. It's about help people become new. And so you talked about like food and all that stuff. Can you talk a little bit about how you help people through food become healed?
A lot of times my patients come to me and they say they eat healthy, they're eating this food, they're having a smoothie. All those things are great, but there's a difference between eating for what your body needs and eating healthy. So if you have a certain condition or issue going on, there's specific foods that help your body heal itself. So there's certain nutrients in specific foods.
And is it different for everybody's body type, or does it really more depend on what your ailments are?
Well, every person that comes into my office is different in so many different ways. So it really just depends on the individual, and I do a diagnosis with each person that comes in. So,
oh, how exciting. So everybody gets their customized plan of what they need. When someone comes to you and they say, all right, Kerry, I have so many issues, I don't know where to begin. What other things would you help them kind of explore? I'm anxious, I'm having a lot of anxiety at work, and you know what, I feel like I'm overweight, and you know what, I feel like I can't breathe, and you know what, I want to lose 100 pounds. Like, where would you start with all of that?
Well, I love working with those types of people, by the way.
You do. She loves working with them.
I do, and everything's all interconnected anyway, but I have lots of different tools in my kit that I like to be able to help, because some things resonate with some people and other things don't. Some of those things are acupuncture, herbal medicine. I talk a lot about spirituality and our connection with God, and also just being assertive. I find that a lot of my patients, in particular women who come to me, have a hard time being assertive, and they think assertiveness is about being mean. And so I love helping people and women get stronger through that assertiveness, and then I use all the other healing modalities to help that. I do a type of energy work called pranic healing.
Pranic healing?
Pranic healing.
Okay. So what is pranic healing? I've never heard of that, or maybe I have, but I definitely don't know what the heck it is. So what is it?
So pranic healing is very similar to Reiki. And if you're familiar with Reiki, if not, pranic healing is based on energy, and based on the fact that we have energy that surrounds us, known as our aura, and then we have energy centers known as chakras, and it's all about cleansing and clearing that energy like you would a dirty window.
Okay. And so you cleanse that energy, and how do we get those different energies? Are they from being around other people that we actually can pick up different energies? And what about ancestrally too? Does that happen to come from our bloodline? Can you speak a little bit about that?
So we pick up energy in lots of different ways. When we get born into the world, we start absorbing energy, and when you're around someone, have you ever had that experience where you're just like, I love being around them, and then you go around someone who's maybe not in a good mood, and you're like, oh, I don't really like being here. That's just a different way of energy, and you can absorb that energy too and pick that up. Another way that we experience energy is with our thoughts and our feelings. So
that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. You mentioned that we can pick up energy. Can we intentionally pick up someone's energy, like make a point of taking someone else's energy? I know it sounds crazy, but
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because energy is powerful, thoughts are powerful. I can connect to you when you're not here, because maybe I'm like, Shay has just got so much energy, and she's so fun and vibrant to be around. I want some of that. And so I can intentionally do that, but that's not coming from a really good place inside of me.
Okay.
To do that.
Got it.
Do that.
Well, so if someone takes someone else's energy, does it deplete some of their energy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When we connect with people, we have an automatic energetic cord that attaches, and it comes from the umbilicus. The umbilicus is also where receive nutrient from our mother.
Right.
And so we have this cord that automatically attaches to someone. So when we're interacting, it's naturally there. So you and I have a cord right now. And after we leave, it's still attached. But there are ways to cleanse that energy and clear that energy so that we can free up our boundaries and our energy.
That is so good. And so it sounds like what you're saying, because this is such great information, is that we really need to think back too around not just our current circle, but our past circles of influence in our lives. And maybe think about, you know what, were we really cleansed from that bad experience, that bad person, if you want to say there is such a thing as a bad person, or if there was just a bad situation that really happened where you may have still be impacted by that energy, by that situational energy, by that person, by whatever that thing was. And so something we need to think about, and I guess we'd come to someone like you to help us through that. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Now, had you had acupuncture yourself prior to you deciding that you wanted to go full-fledged and be on the other side of it too?
Yeah, that's actually how I got into Chinese medicine and acupuncture, was through my personal experience that led me here. I spent 4 years also in Chinese medicine school, so...
Oh, wow, that's a long time, right?
Yes.
Because actually, your title, as we mentioned, I think earlier, was a doctor in Oriental medicine, right? So 4 years is a long time to go to school, but so worth it. You can see how knowledgeable Kerry is. How long have you been in the business for, or in this practice for?
I've been in this practice now for 4 years.
Oh my goodness, and
Yeah.
has it been all that you ever dreamed it would be?
Well, I had to learn about being an entrepreneur, which was a definite experience for sure. I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs, but I've always been a go-getter in a sense of following my passion.
Sure.
And so I've learned a lot along that way and how to build business, but it was really about me becoming comfortable with myself. And once,
Absolutely.
the more I become more and more comfortable with myself, the more my business thrives.
Wow. And so what experience prior to the 8 years now, 4 years in training and then 4 years in practice?
Yeah, actually, I was going to college for accounting. I wanted to be a CPA.
Oh, wow.
I love numbers, and I had a job in the accounts payable department, and thought that numbers were it, but they weren't.
They weren't it. So now you kind of ditch the numbers so you can deal with people, right?
Yes.
But as an entrepreneur, you can't be too far away from the numbers, I'd
No.
imagine, either, right? Okay, so awesome. So good for you, and that alone is a testimony of being able to say, you know what, I realize that I like doing this thing, which is I like numbers, but there's something more and different that you wanted to do. And for you at home, you might be thinking, you know what, I'm doing something that I went to school for and I'm enjoying that, but it's not for my fullest potential. I'm still away from what I'm really supposed to be doing, or from taking that jump into entrepreneurship. So I think you are definitely a great example of a lot of women out there that probably are in your shoes right now, or want to be in your shoes in terms of pursuing their passion. As we think about your own personal transformation, have you had some really tough experiences in your life that you now take with you into your practice when you're dealing with your clients? Like, I would imagine that just thinking, even acupuncture. I've never had acupuncture, but I can imagine it's wonderful. Everyone I know who's had it says, oh, you gotta do it. But at the same time, I'm still like a little fearful. I think all of us need to go through the experience to then be able to be a testimony or a witness to someone else to say, hey, it might be scary, but once you do it, it's actually so worth it.
And when I was 19 years old, I ended up having exploratory surgery. And when I came out of the surgery, I had part of my bowels resected and a diagnosis of Crohn's disease.
Oh dear, Crohn's disease is very serious.
Yeah, and at 19 years old, I went home when I was finally released from the hospital, and I did all this research, and I studied foods and read all these forms of people's experiences and how their life was now, with that diagnosis. And I went back to my surgeon, and she basically told me that I could just continue my life the way that it was, that it didn't make sense to me. I felt like there was something else out there.
Yeah, because for those of you at home that don't know, and I have a couple of friends who've gone through Crohn's disease, but I'm sure, again, everyone's experience could be different. It is actually something that can disrupt your day-to-day functioning. And you studied because you thought that there was something more. You didn't want to just take the one doctor's word for it. So what did you do next?
And I started to see a gastroenterologist, and he wanted to put me on steroids. My first thought was, no, I don't want to do this. Doesn't seem right. I read all the side effects and was like, if I have this one thing, I don't want all these other things. So I fired him. And
good for you.
Yeah, because he wasn't very nice.
That's what you do.
So I fired my doctor, and I was introduced to a man who did kinesiology, acupuncture, and muscle testing, and he made me feel like a person.
Oh, wow.
And he became my mentor. He gave me a strict regimen of things to do, food diary, and we started going forward. And I didn't understand anything he was doing or anything he had me doing, but I was getting better.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So how long would you say was your transformation through that?
Well, I feel like I'm still transforming in a lot of ways, but the majority of my digestive transformation was a learning process of 4 to 5 years of just continuously exploring. But I'm still exploring in a lot of ways, and just myself in general.
And I think that's what we should be doing,
Absolutely.
right? We want to be new every day. New cells in our body, and there's a new sun. You want to be able to do new things. And so, yeah, transformation and going to that next level is like an ongoing thing. But wow, what a story. And so firsthand, I would imagine, then when patients come to you and they're like, you know what, I have this going on, or this going on, or this going on, doctor, and you're like, you know what, I probably understand a little bit, maybe not 100% of their exact situation,
Absolutely.
but you probably can definitely relate because of your own personal testimony. How exciting was that? Do you feel like sometimes we're scared to think about going to holistic medicine because it's not the norm? Do you find that people have their own apprehensions, and what are they concerned about?
Yeah, I find that a lot of people have apprehensions with it because it's different. We're used to Western medicine. The other thing is it going to work? Am I going to spend money on something that isn't going to work, because I've experienced a lot of other things that don't work? And I often find a lot of times people are scared of needles, and hands down, the patients that come in here experience acupuncture and really surprised that the needles are so small and tiny. Most of the time you can't even see them.
What does it feel like a bee sting or what?
No, definitely not a bee sting.
Is it more than a bee sting?
Sometimes you don't feel anything at all. Sometimes it's a little pinch or a little prick, just like as if you were to pinch the skin like this.
Okay.
That's what it can feel like. But there are sensations that come with acupuncture, just like any energy healing. And that can be, you can feel tingling in your body and warm sensations and cooling different sensations.
Okay. And why is acupuncture used? I don't think I've even asked that question. That's probably one of those, base questions, right? Why the heck is it used?
Well, it's used to help your body heal itself. The little acupuncture points on our body bring messages to alert the body to heal itself. So it's like saying, hey Shay, I'm tapping you on the shoulder. Let's go walk out that door. So an acupuncture point acts in a way of redirecting the body to help heal itself.
Very interesting. And do sometimes people have to come for many sessions of acupuncture in order to get the kind of release that they need in a certain area of their lives or in their body?
Well, again, everybody's individual, and most of my patients experience relief within the first treatment.
Oh, wow.
But I like to give my patients tools outside of the office. I don't like them to just come in and that's the treatment and then you're gone. I'm always giving my patients homework, so I'm the type of practitioner that says, let's improve your life. And here are some tools to help you every single day that you're not here.
That's awesome.
So it just really depends on the follow through on those aspects. And my patients are really good at following through so they get better quicker.
Absolutely. And so a lot of people, especially Christians, they have some preconceived, and this is my experience that I'm speaking from, they have some preconceived notion about energy versus, rules of the universe versus our ability to heal ourselves. Do you find that you have to talk through some of that with your patients prior to being able to treat them so then they can get the full benefit of what you're helping to help them with?
One of the ways that I work with people when they come in is I feel them out. So I get in, I'm already gathering information as they're sharing with me how they feel about certain things. So I approach people based on themselves, and I love working on different dynamics. So it's easy to work with people when it's not like this is how you have to do it, because there's again no right or wrong way of doing it. It's about what works for you. So if I have somebody who comes in who's religious versus spiritual, I can still work with them because it's what works for them. And I can I actually started a meditation class.
Oh, how exciting.
Yes, and
Wonderful.
I'm offering acupuncture ear seeds with it, and a portion of the proceeds are donated to charity.
Oh, that's
and
great.
we select a different charity each month. Last month we just had one, and we donated it to Saving the Bees.
Oh, how funny. I talked about bee stings.
I am super passionate about forgiveness.
Awesome.
And
I think I love you. Because these are all things that block women from becoming new, holding the guilt. But please, you tell us what you do in that area.
absolutely. So forgiveness is very near and dear to my heart, and I work with each patient that comes in with forgiveness, and I actually started a forgiveness workshop where I donate all the proceeds to charity. So it's my way of also giving back, but also getting out there and sharing forgiveness. And sometimes the word forgiveness can be a little hard for people to digest.
Yes.
Yes,
Sure.
and I teach a lot on forgiveness. Isn't about saying what somebody did was right or wrong, but it's about exchanging those uncomfortable, unhappy emotions for inner peace. And that's what forgiveness is about: inner forgiveness for all and outer forgiveness for some. And
Oh, wow. Outer forgiveness for some.
yes, because some people can be unhealthy to forgive outwardly, and that leads into another thing. I actually work with the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay,
Oh, that's good.
and that's something that's also near and dear to my heart, is working with survivors of rape and domestic
That's
violence.
exactly what I was thinking of. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And so I, last month, I just did a forgiveness workshop with them too. So those can be examples if you're in an unhealthy relationship or were in one, and outer forgiveness is just not appropriate. But inner forgiveness is appropriate because it's about yourself.
This is, I think a lot of women can get through difficult times in their life if they're able to have someone like you in their life. Whether it's in an area of forgiveness, whether they have physical ailments, whether their anxiety high because of job situation or anything like that, I think you'd be a wonderful person for them to reach out to. And as we wrap up, do you have an example of a success story?
I do, actually, Shay. One of my first long-term patients, and I still see her to this day, she came into me and she was diagnosed with being bipolar, and she was experiencing some issues in her relationship. And I worked with her throughout that time, and we worked on her in lots of different levels, so physically and emotionally. And through that process, I watched her get stronger and stronger, and eventually she left that relationship.
Oh, wow.
And the physical issues that she had with her diagnosis began to dissipate and disappear permanently. And till this day, I actually just watched her. She started massage school, and she's finally following her passion and got out of the corporate world of working for someone else. And she's like, you know what? This is what I want to do. It's kind of scary, but going forward with it. So, and we continue to work together, and it's just beautiful seeing, you know, her life transform so much from where she was. It's like completely, it's like night and day, and she's healthy and happy and exploring the world, and, you know, it just doesn't seem so scary anymore.
That's awesome, and that's what life should be like. We just need a Kerry in our lives to help us get there. Well, this has been a great show. I've enjoyed my time learning so much today about Oriental medicine, but specifically about Kerry Cott. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Really, thank you for your time. Okay.
It's a new you, Starting today, starting right now, a new day, changes to make, we'll show you how. Renew your mind.